Let's talk about something real. You see someone attractive. Maybe it's at a coffee shop, maybe at a party, maybe in class, at work, at the gym, at a bookstore, or even just passing by on the street. There's something about them that instantly catches your attention. Their energy, their style, their presence. And in that moment, something lights up inside you. You want to walk over, say something simple, and let the conversation happen naturally. You want to feel relaxed, confident, and fully in the moment. But then the freeze happens. Suddenly, what should be a normal interaction starts feeling like a test. Your mind races with questions. What do I say? How do I keep this going? What if I sound awkward? What if I run out of things to say? And now, instead of being present, you're trapped inside your own head, overthinking every word before it even leaves your mouth. You look at other people and wonder how they make it seem so effortless. They're not panicking. They're not analyzing every second. They're not trying to come up with the perfect line. They just talk, and it works. So you start thinking they must have something special that you don't. But the truth is, they usually don't have better words, better lines, or some secret script. What they have is a different relationship with pressure. That's the real difference. Most people think conversations fail because they don't know what to say, but that's rarely the actual problem. The real problem is the state they're speaking from. Conversation is not just about words, it's about emotional energy. People don't just respond to what you say, they respond to how it feels to be around you while you're saying it. That changes everything, because once you understand that, you stop obsessing over being impressive and start focusing on being grounded. You stop trying to force attraction or engineer chemistry, and instead, you learn how to create an atmosphere where connection can happen naturally. If you've ever felt awkward, blanked out in the middle of a conversation, or replayed an interaction later wondering why you acted so strange, this is the shift you need. The goal is not to become some hyper-social machine. The goal is to become comfortable enough in yourself that talking to someone attractive feels like talking, not surviving. And the first thing to understand is that most conversations don't die because you said the wrong thing. They die because you were never fully in the conversation to begin with. You were physically there, but mentally, you were somewhere else, inside your own head. Think about the last time you felt awkward talking to someone you liked. Your attention was probably not on the moment itself. It was on yourself. You were monitoring your face, your words, their reactions, the silence, the topic, whether you seemed confident, whether they liked you. That creates instant tension. One part of you is trying to connect, while another part is busy directing, editing, and criticizing everything in real time. You're trying to be the speaker, the audience, and the judge all at once. No wonder it feels unnatural. And the important thing is that people can feel when you're not fully present. They may not describe it that way, but they feel it. Human beings are incredibly sensitive to tension. When someone is calm and grounded, that feeling spreads. When someone is nervous and approval-seeking, that spreads too. So even if your words are technically fine, your energy tells the real story. You could say something funny, polished, even objectively clever, but if it comes wrapped in tension, it lands wrong. It feels forced. On the other hand, you could say something incredibly simple, but if you say it with calmness, ease, and real presence, it feels good. That's why presence matters more than performance. And this is especially important for people who think they're too shy, too quiet, or too introverted to be good at conversation. A lot of people have been told their whole lives that they need to be louder, more outgoing, more dominant, more entertaining. But being quiet is not the problem. Being tense is the problem. Being introverted is not the problem. Being disconnected from the moment is the problem. In fact, quieter people often have a huge advantage once they stop seeing themselves as broken because they tend to observe more, listen better, notice details, and create space. And space is powerful. Conversation is like music. What makes music beautiful is not just the notes, but the pauses between them, the rhythm, the breathing room, the silence. Conversation works the same way. If you are comfortable with stillness, comfortable not rushing to fill every second, you stop giving off needy energy. You stop looking like someone trying to earn approval in real time. Instead, you come across as someone who is settled in themselves. That is magnetic, not because it is flashy, but because it feels solid. So before you worry about what to say, fix the state you're speaking from. Your body always speaks first. Before you say hello, your shoulders, your breathing, your jaw, your pace, your eyes, and your voice have already introduced you. If your body is in fight or flight mode, your conversation is already carrying tension. So before you walk up to someone, pause for 1 second, drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, exhale fully, then take one slow breath into your stomach instead of your chest. It sounds simple, but it changes everything. When you breathe into your chest, your body acts like it's in danger. Your voice tightens, your words speed up, and your mind starts panicking. But when you breathe deeply and relax your body, your nervous system gets the message that this is safe. That calmness becomes your foundation. There's a reason slow, relaxed movement feels confident. People who are comfortable don't rush. They don't speak like every second is an emergency. They move like they belong there. That's the energy you want. Not fake confidence, not overcompensation, but real groundedness. Now, when it comes to actually starting the conversation, people make a huge mistake. They go searching for the perfect opener. They think the whole interaction depends on the first sentence, so they try to find something clever, impressive, or unusually smooth. But the best openers are usually not clever at all. They're simple, clean, and real. The goal of an opener is not to impress. It's just to open. That's it. You're not trying to perform. You're trying to begin. So instead of memorizing lines, use what's already around you. Use the setting. Use the moment. Use context. If you're in a coffee shop, comment on the menu, the long line, the drink, the atmosphere, or how hard it is to decide what to order. If you're at an event, comment on the energy, the crowd, the setting, or the reason everyone is there. If it's a more spontaneous interaction, just be honest and respectful. A simple comment about their energy, style, or the moment itself is often more powerful than anything rehearsed because it sounds human, and people trust what feels human. A lot of awkwardness comes from trying too hard to seem unawkward. That effort itself is what makes things weird. But when you keep it simple, you remove pressure from the moment. You stop trying to wow someone in 10 seconds and just allow the interaction to begin. Then do something most people forget to do. Pause. Don't immediately flood the space with more words. Let the moment breathe. Smile. Look at them. Stay relaxed. One of the biggest mistakes people make is saying an opener and then panicking if there isn't instant momentum, so they start stacking sentence after sentence, trying to rescue the conversation before it even has a chance to develop naturally. But calmness is attractive. When you say something and allow space, it shows comfort. It shows that you're not terrified of silence. It shows that you're not performing. Once the conversation begins, the next challenge is how to keep it going. The biggest mistake here is turning the conversation into an interview. Where are you from? What do you do? How long have you lived here? Do you have siblings? None of those questions are terrible on their own, but if that's all you're doing, the interaction starts to feel mechanical. People don't connect deeply over facts alone. They connect over meaning, emotion, and perspective. So instead of only asking for information, ask for experience. If someone says they just moved recently, don't just ask how long ago it happened. Ask what that transition has been like, what surprised them most, whether it feels exciting or overwhelming, what they miss, or what they hope this new chapter gives them. Now, you're not just collecting details, you're entering their world. That is one of the biggest shifts you can make. Move from facts to feelings, from biography to psychology, from data to experience. Because once someone starts talking about what something felt like, what it meant to them, what it changed in them, or how they see it, the conversation becomes alive. And when they share something real, don't rush to your next question. Stay with it. This is where many people miss the moment. Someone gives you an emotional doorway, and instead of walking through it, you jump to another topic because you're nervous about going deeper. But that emotional doorway is where connection lives. If someone says something was exciting but also overwhelming, that's not just an answer, it's an invitation. You can respond by reflecting that emotional complexity back to them. That shows that you actually heard them, and that matters more than people realize. A great conversation does not feel like one person talking while the other waits for their turn. It feels like both people are building something together. A lot of people are also deeply afraid of running out of things to say. They think that if they can't keep producing new topics, the interaction will die. But the truth is, you do not need endless new topics. You need depth. Most people abandon topics far too quickly. Someone mentions travel, and instead of exploring it, they jump to work. Then from work to hobbies. Then from hobbies to food. Then from food to entertainment. The conversation becomes a series of half-open doors. Instead, stay with one thread longer. If someone says they went to the beach over the weekend, there are countless directions hidden inside that one sentence. You can ask whether they grew up near the water, whether they go there to relax, whether they're more spontaneous or planned, whether they need quiet to recharge, or what kind of environments make them feel most like themselves. One sentence can lead to 10 minutes of conversation if you are actually listening. That is the key. Every response contains threads. Your job is not to invent a conversation from nothing. Your job is to notice the threads and pull on the one that feels most alive. And the more present you are, the easier that becomes. If you're stuck in your own head, you miss the opportunities they're giving you. Another powerful thing to remember is that not every response needs to be a question. Sometimes the strongest move is simply making an observation. If someone says they've been carrying a lot lately, instead of asking more questions right away, you might reflect that they seem like someone who handles a lot without showing it. If someone says they love quiet mornings, you might observe that they probably need peace in order to reset. That kind of response creates a very different feeling. It shows perception, and perception builds depth fast because the other person feels understood rather than processed. At the same time, you don't want to become overly serious too quickly. Calm does not mean flat. Grounded does not mean boring. You still want emotional range. Playfulness matters. If something is funny, enjoy it. If there is room to tease lightly, do it. If they say something ridiculous, smile and call it out in a playful way. Playfulness removes pressure. It makes the interaction feel alive instead of structured. But the key is that your playfulness should come from ease, not from trying to entertain. You are not there to become a performer. You are there to share a moment. That's a huge difference. Then there is silence, which scares so many people because they think silence means failure. But awkward silence is not caused by silence itself. It is caused by panic around silence. Two people can pause for a few seconds and it can feel natural, warm, even charged. Or they can pause for 2 seconds and it feels unbearable. The difference is comfort. If you treat silence like a disaster, the other person will feel that. But if you stay relaxed, silence becomes part of the interaction instead of proof that something went wrong. Sometimes a pause is just a pause. Sometimes it is where attraction breathes. Sometimes it is where both people actually feel each other's presence instead of hiding behind constant words. So don't rush to fill every gap. Let moments land. Let eye contact hold. Let a smile stay there for a second. Let the conversation have air in it. Another important shift is to stop trying to get something from every interaction. The moment you approach someone with the energy of needing a result, needing them to like you, needing the conversation to go perfectly, needing proof that you're attractive or worthy, you bring pressure into the interaction. People can feel when they are being used to regulate your self-esteem, and that doesn't feel good. But when you approach with curiosity instead of need, everything changes. Now you are not there to extract validation, you are there to explore, to see who this person really is, to see whether there is a real connection, to enjoy the moment for what it is. Ironically, that mindset makes you much more attractive because there is no grasping in it. Neediness repels, curiosity invites. Part of curiosity is also being willing to disagree. A lot of people sabotage themselves by becoming too agreeable. They think being liked means never creating friction, so they nod at everything, laugh at everything, and support every opinion just to stay safe. But that usually makes the interaction flat. If someone dislikes something you genuinely love, you don't have to start an argument, but you also don't have to pretend to agree. You can playfully challenge them. You can lightly disagree. You can show that you have your own center. That kind of authenticity creates spark because it shows that you are not shape-shifting to earn approval. You are bringing a real self into the interaction, and that makes things feel more alive. Pacing is also crucial. One of the fastest ways to ruin a good interaction is to rush it. Talking too fast, pushing too hard, trying to create instant depth, trying to force momentum, trying to secure certainty before the moment has developed naturally. All of that comes from fear. Connection is not something you force. It unfolds. Some conversations will stay light. Some will go deeper. Some will be brief but memorable. Some will naturally continue. Some won't. That's okay. Your job is not to control the whole experience. Your job is to show up well. And if the conversation is flowing and the energy feels good, then yes, at some point, move it forward. Suggest continuing the conversation another time. Suggest grabbing coffee. Suggest exchanging contact information. But do it from clarity, not panic. There is a big difference between trying to lock something down before you lose it and simply saying that you enjoyed the interaction and would like to continue it. The truth is, you cannot think your way into social confidence. You have to practice your way into it. A lot of people spend months consuming advice, analyzing conversations, memorizing tips, and trying to understand every nuance of attraction. But none of that matters if you never actually speak. Confidence is built through repetition, not theory, not imagination, not waiting until you feel fully ready. If talking to someone attractive feels overwhelming, don't make that your starting point. Start by talking to people in low-pressure situations. Speak to strangers in ordinary moments. Comment on small things. Ask easy questions. Let interaction become normal. Because once your brain learns that speaking to new people is not a threat, everything gets easier. Then when you meet someone you are genuinely drawn to, it doesn't feel like an impossible moment. It just feels like another conversation with a little more energy behind it. This is how real confidence is built. Gradually, through repetition, through imperfect moments, through awkward attempts that teach you something, through discovering that even when a conversation doesn't go perfectly, you survive. So much social anxiety comes from overestimating the consequences of awkwardness. You think one weird pause will ruin everything. One clumsy sentence will destroy attraction. One missed moment will prove you are socially hopeless. But most people are far more forgiving than your inner critic is. And most good conversations are not perfect conversations. They are alive. They have pauses, stumbles, recoveries, moments of laughter, and moments of recalibration. The people who seem most natural socially are usually not perfect. They are just not panicking when imperfect moments happen. So if there is one thing to remember, it is this. Stop trying to be impressive and start trying to be present. Stop trying to engineer attraction and start learning how to create comfort. Stop chasing the perfect line and start trusting simple, honest connection. When you slow down, breathe, pay attention, and actually meet the other person in the moment, conversation changes completely. It stops feeling like a performance and starts feeling like discovery. That is where connection lives. Not in overthinking, not in memorized lines, not in forcing charisma, but in presence, curiosity, calmness, and the willingness to let a real moment unfold without trying to control every second of it. The next time you notice someone and feel that familiar wave of pressure, don't make it bigger than it is. Take one breath. Relax your body. Walk over. Say hello. Notice what is around you. Notice them. Listen to what they actually say. Stay with the moment a little longer than your anxiety wants you to. And remember, you are not there to perform your worth. You are there to see if there is something real between two people. Once you understand that, conversations stop feeling like obstacles and start feeling like openings. If you want, I can also make this into a single long continuous paragraph, shorter paragraph version, or YouTube voiceover paragraph style with stronger hooks and retention lines.